Hello people, Rebecca Rusch here, and we are going to talk about the dreaded tire change. Everybody's afraid to change a flat. It's no big deal. We're going to go through it, some easy steps, and then you don't have to be afraid. The cool thing about learning how to take care of your bike a little bit is that you get freedom to go more places, go further out on the trail. So today, we're going to change my mountain bike tire. Really easy. First thing I do is you want to shift down so that you're in the smallest cog on your cassette, and that just makes it easier if you're doing a rear tire change. Makes it easier to take the tire off. We're going to do a front tire change today. So this one's real easy. Just take the tire off. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And most of us are running tubeless. And a question I get all the time is like, well, I'm running tubeless. What do I do if I get a flat? You put a tube in. So that's really what we're gonna do. Take the tire out. Then you're gonna let the air out of the tire. Or maybe the air is already out because you have a flat. So you probably don't have to let the air out of the tire. But for this, we're letting the air out. Just makes it easier to get the tire off the rim. You've got this little screw here. This helps keep your valve in place once you've got the tire on. So you just unscrew it. This one's real tight. All right, so then you let the rest of the air out, or maybe it's already flat. And then you're gonna unscrew this little screw that just holds your valve stem in there. You gotta take that one off. And then you'll notice I keep all my tools in a little tool bag. Got them laid out here, but I like to keep them all organized. So I've got all the things I need for whatever ride in a nice little tool bag. So you take this guy off, and that means you can get the stem out. And then what you wanna do is break the bead. So the way that the rim is shaped, it's sort of this U-shaped rim. And so you want to get the edge of the tire away from the rim. And so if you squeeze it to the inside, that actually takes some pressure off and makes it a lot easier to take the tire off the rim. So you squeeze it on both sides and you'll feel it kind of go into the middle where there's a little groove, where there's a little more space. So get it in there on both sides. Spin it around, take your tire iron, and they're called tire irons, but they're plastic. I really like these thick ones because you get a little bit more grasp. If you've got sealant in there, your ride tubeless, no problem. It's okay, it's a little messy. You just get in under there and kind of wedge the tire from the rim, and then you're just gonna spin it around and get it tire off the rim. And this is called the bead. So you're wanting to get the bead off the rim, and that's what keeps it on there for tubeless. So you're gonna spin it all the way around. Sometimes you need to use 2 tire irons if it's a real tight fit. Sometimes you don't. And you've got that sealant in there, no problem. Then you are going to leave the other side on the tire. And you're just gonna put a tube right in there. So next thing you're gonna do is figure out why you got the flat. Super important. Sometimes there might be a thorn, and so you wanna run your hand in there, see why you got a flat. If you feel a thorn, you need to get it out. Or if you can see a sidewall tear, you're gonna need to repair that and put a tire boot or a goo wrapper or something in. So figure out why you got the flat, and then you're ready to put a tube in. So I like to keep my tubes in my kit in a plastic bag, because what can happen when you're mountain biking all over the place, if you don't have your tube protected, the rubber can actually wear, and you take a tube out and it doesn't work. It's happened to me, it's got a hole in it. So you want to protect your tubes. I've got a fresh one here, nice big fatty. You are going to take that little screw off, valve core, or the valve screw, keep that. And then you also need to take out your tubeless valve, because they're a little bit different. So you need to take that one out. You just, once you've taken the screw off, you just push it in. You just push it in. Ugh, sometimes it's sticky with the sealant. And this one actually has a little gasket, so that's why it's not coming off. And sometimes that's just for tubeless, that just helps it not leak. And so you want to keep that stuff for when you set your tire up tubeless again. So I like to put them back together, keep it all as one, goes back in my toolkit, and then you're going to use the tube. So you open up the little valve so you can get air in it. And then I like to put a little teeny bit of air in to give the tire its shape. Pump, 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 pump. You can use CO2. I bring CO2 with me, but I like to use a pump. It's just kind of, I've got time, unless you're racing and stuff. I like to use a pump. All right, so got a little bit of air in there. Close that up. Then you're gonna find where the valve stem goes in. And if you're in the dirt, be careful not to get a whole bunch of dirt in your tire or get a whole bunch of stuff on your tube, because you just don't want to get another flat. So you poke that through the hole. There we go. And you're gonna just tuck the tire in nice and neat. Try to tuck it in there. All right, and then that little guy, that's super important. That screw keeps the valve nice and tight on your rim. So you screw that on. Something that I always carry in my kit, sometimes with rims, if your valve stem isn't long enough to get through your rim, you can't actually put it in your tire. And I've had that problem before. And so I carry a valve extender, and all that does is screw on here. If this wasn't long enough to come through your rim, you can put the extender on, and then voila, you can still change your tire. All right, so now that it's in, what you want to do is get the tire back on the rim. So I usually start up at the valve here, and you're just tucking it in, making sure you're not pinching the tube inside, in between the rim and the tire. So you push it in there, and this is where, if you want to use your, push it in. This last part's the hardest part. This is where you need your, what's this called? Tire lever. That's right, tire lever again. So you're gonna push it around, and when you get towards the end with both hands, it takes a little bit of coordination. Then you're gonna tuck that in there and pop it back on. Real easy, right? Easier said than done. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And you're trying to be careful not to pinch the tube too much. And you'll see it wants to run back around. So you've got to sort of hold it with one hand, push it with the other, push it, bring it closer, push it, bring it closer, push it. And it takes a little bit of force. It feels kind of weird, but you've got to kind of push it hard. Get your legs into it if you need. Sometimes you can just do this with your hands. Other times you can't. So be patient, hold it down, wedge it under there. And this is why I like the really big ones, because you can see it takes some force to get that bead back on the rim. Come on, baby. There we go. Oh, it's inching away from me. This one's hard, huh? We got it. So you're pushing it up in here, you're grabbing it onto the rim, and I'll just show you the tire lever real quick. Well, if I get it. There we go. Do you feel that? So it's hooked. The tire lever's hooked. And so that hook is what's going up onto the rim. So when you're actually doing it, it's onto the rim, and then you're pushing the tire up onto it. So you're using that little hook to, like, boop, push it back on, and your thumbs to keep it from going around. So then this part, what you want to do, I like to go around and just look, make sure you don't see any pieces of that inside tube sticking out of the tire, because you don't want to pinch it in there and get a pinch flat. So now you're ready to go. open that up and you're ready to start pumping. This is where you get your workout. And I really like to pump it up until you'll hear the noise. When the bead, remember we talked about the shape of the rim, it's sort of U-shaped. And so right now, the bead of the tire is on the inside of the U, but you need to get it popped up onto the outside. So I like to pump it pretty hard, more pressure than you think, or more pressure than you normally ride with. So I pump it pretty hard until you hear that pop, pop, and that's the bead actually getting onto the rim in the right spot. So it takes a little while, pump it up nice and hard till you hear that pop, and then you'll put it down to your normal riding inflation. And that's it. That's how you change a tire. Well, and then you put it back on your bike, and then you go riding. But I'm gonna be pumping for a while. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. Tell I haven't gotten a flat in a really long time because this valve is really on there. Okay. I love editing. Ow, like I actually think I need to get a little pliers. Ah. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab a pliers. Pause, please.